Hello, I'm Courtney and I want you to come and get ready with me because I'm getting ready to go on an episode of Very Delta.
Are you a lady like me?
So I thought, why not film a bit of a makeup tutorial, tell you some little stories about what's been going on in my life, because I had a look at YouTube and the last makeup tutorial I did is a little rough. That, my friends, is my standard issue Courtney Act face. And I wear more makeup now, and so I would like you to see that. But before we get into it, please like and subscribe to my channel. This could be my YouTube comeback. I don't know. I've been threatening it for years. This could be it. So you don't want to miss it. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment. Tell me what else you'd like to see. I was scrolling through YouTube and I decided that I probably needed to update my makeup tutorials because they're very much in the chapstick and mascara era, and I think I've come a long way. Actually, it's auspicious that I should be doing this now because I've come a long way because of one of my favorite pop girlies who just released a song. Jade Thirlwall from Little Mix released her song, Angel of My Dreams. And it was when Willem and Alaska and I were filming the music video for Power for Little Mix when Jade walked into the room with all of her hair and makeup done, looking absolutely glorious. And I realized in that moment that I needed to start wearing more hair and makeup. And from that day forth, I have consistently worn more hair and more makeup. So thank you, Jade, for doing the community service. And thank you, Willem and Alaska and all of my friends for bullying me over the years into wearing more hair and makeup because you know what? You were right. More is better. So I'm gonna start from the very beginning, a very good place to start.
Let's start from the very beginning. Very good place to start.
Okay, I'm gonna put on a stocking cap, preparation for my wig. Glue stick. Back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. I am a nub queen, so I leave out the little nub moment. Whilst my eyebrows are drying, I like to apply my primer. It looks a little crusty. It's just some decanted milk of magnesia. Now I go all over my face with my pan stick, starting with my eyebrows. So I'm just going over my entire face with my foundation color. Okay, now I'm sufficiently monochromatic. I'm going to go in with my concealer. This is Tarte Shape Tape in Fair Beige. We love this one. If you're doing this the first time, maybe like do it section by section, but because I'm a pro, then I will work quickly. But this is a product that does sort of dry as you use it, so you want to work quickly. Now for contour. I really love this Tinted Blur Sculpt Stick. This is a nude natural medium. I think the brand is called Nude Sticks. And I love it because you can just draw it on like so. It blends really nicely. I used to use a more full coverage product for contour, but I really like this. And then once it's all blended, we're going to powder. Before I powder, I find it handy to pull the skin taut and blend out any creases. Not that I ever had any. This is a great tip to avoid under eye creases and bags. Right before you powder, get your sponge, blend out any of those creases, set it. The one thing I don't like about doing makeup tutorials is that I don't get to listen to Race Chaser, which is what I do whenever I get into drag. And I only listen to them when I get into drag because there's only 2 per week. And if you're getting in drag more than twice a week, you're screwed. You've got no company while you're doing your makeup. Now I'm gonna go in and do my eyebrows with my oak pencil. I'm gonna just use this little brush to buff out the pencil, concentrating mostly on like the top line of the brow because the bottom line I'm gonna go in with concealer and tidy up. And in true Matthew Anderson style, you wanna sort of fade the brow from the center. So you don't need like a hard line, a hard vertical line in the center. You can just sort of blend that. Now I'm gonna take my highlight color and a flat brush, and I'm gonna go in and carve out under the brow. I'm gonna go in later and draw on some individual hairs with a brown felt tip, But for now, I'm gonna leave them because they'll just get dusty. Next, I'm gonna put down some eyeshadow primer. This one is by MAC, 24-Hour Extend Eye Base. Smashbox has got a really good one as well. You don't see it, but it does help. Now it's time for eyeshadows. I'm gonna use this Beauty Bay palette, Neutral, Neutral, Neutral. She's a little messy. I'm gonna take my 228 brush by MAC and my darkest brown. I'm just gonna mark out the socket line. You know, I've learnt with makeup and blending over the years, it's just about like taking the time, taking a little bit more time, leaving yourself a little bit longer when you're doing your makeup and just blending a little bit more. As Andrea James says, beauty is in the millimeters. Sometimes it's just about blending and just working it out, finessing. And lots of little millimeters all over your face adds up to a full centimeter. Right, now I've got that line in, I'm gonna blend up toward my brow. It's funny because at this point in the makeup, you're like, really? Are you gonna be pretty when you finish? This kind of gives me like that drag queen that maybe does drag twice a year and isn't really good at blending, but she comes out at Pride and she comes out at like Halloween and she's like committed to it, but it's always a little bit crusty. And the difference is like just blending and adding more. The great thing about makeup, or at least drag makeup, or at least my drag makeup, is that there's so many steps and layers where you get to like perfect each line. Back in the old days, I would just sort of do like one line, one eyebrow, and I'd be like, But now there's, you know, concealers to cut out the crease, and there's blending, and there's highlights, and there's all of these layers. So if it doesn't look good at first, just keep persisting, adding more, and eventually, if it doesn't look good, just do what Willem does and cover it in glitter. I will say, I was in here yesterday and Willem looked absolutely gorgeous, and I said, who did you face? And she did.
Time to celebrate, 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 celebrate.
She looked beautiful. Velvety, blended, not even a candlelight beauty, like a dimly lit room beauty.
Shade!
Now I'm gonna take a sort of vanilla color and do just under the brow. Now I'm going to carve out my cut crease. Same way I did my eyebrow, using my concealer color. I use my finger and like hold my lashes down with my finger. I don't know if this is a recommended technique, but it works for me. I do the line and then I sort of fill it in backwards. Speaking of my beauty influencer era, who did I bump into at the gym yesterday but Manny Makeup? I'd gotten out of the hot tub and I'd had a shower and I'd forgot my beauty products, but my skin was feeling very tight. And I said hello to Manny. We were getting changed in the locker room and I said, do you happen to have any moisturizer? And he did, and he lent me some. He even let me stick his finger in his jar. Not a euphemism. I'm wearing purple, lavender, lilac, like a soft purpley color, what do you call that? Lame palazzo pant. Excuse the low watt overhead institutional lighting, but I just had a public service announcement. If you're gay enough to wear it, you're gay enough to steam it.
Courtney, what are those?
Culottes. Oh, these. These are my pads. And like a crystally, I just heard Race Chaser. I love Crystal.
I love Crystal.
A crystally blouse, Marco top that's sort of like golds and champagnes and browns. So I might take my Jade palette. Oh my God, Jade Thirlwell is like I mentioned her at the beginning being the inspo for me wearing more makeup, and now I'm using her Beauty Bay palette because there's a great purple in here that I really love. I'm just gonna take a flat brush, and this color is called Daydreamer from my Beauty Bay Jade Thirlwell palette. Was this my Kerry Colby inspired lid? I think it might be. I think it was Kerry Colby's Season, her finale eye. That's where the inspiration came from. It's a bit of a special occasion eye, you know? And today is a special occasion because I'm going on Very Delta. I'm gonna take an angle brush and some black and just go over that line. I really should have done the black first, but whatever. I am doing my makeup in a 20 times magnified mirror, which also means that right now I think that I'm wearing like a Guy Pearce in Priscilla Queen of the Desert sized drag face, and then I'll look in a normal mirror and I'm like, oh, chapstick and mascara. I heard that they're doing a sequel to Priscilla. I have no insider trader information. I just saw this on Instagram because it's the 30th anniversary of Priscilla, and they found the bus. It was on some plot of land somewhere in Byron Bay that had like survived bushfires and all sorts of things. And so they found the bus and they've refurbished it. And then I read that Guy Pearce, Terence Stamp, and Hugo Weaving are all signed on for a sequel of Priscilla. I'm so fascinated to hear about it, and also so desperate to be involved. So Stephen Elliott, don't let that time when Priscilla premiered on Broadway and we all ended up in your hotel room at Soho House for an after party, and we were filming a Trop Fest short film in your hotel room, and like Vanity was there, Kirsten Han was on the lights, Tim Chappell's there, everybody, it was like a hotel room, but the bathtub was in the hotel room, and we were filming this like moment. And then my big moment came, and I turned around and I had to like deliver something brilliant and enigmatic to the camera, and I just choked and I ruined the whole after party. Like everything was so fun, it was all building to this moment, and then I just like choked and the mood turned, and Stefan was like, all right, well, I think we should all go home then. And everybody just stood up and left. And I was like, oh God, I've ruined this Trop Fest film. It wasn't a real Trop Fest film. It's a short film festival in Australia, which is now over. Maybe that's why, because they didn't have a winner that year. I've ruined this party. And then Vanity and I were wearing swimsuits in New York City. I think it was November, perhaps the 15th. And we were both wearing like lycra swimsuits in New York City. It was snowing outside. We didn't have jackets, we didn't have coats. And we're standing at the front of Soho House in like swimsuits, trying to hail a taxi to get back to our Airbnb. So Stefan, don't let that be my audition. I've evolved, I've grown. I would like to show you my acting chops as seen on Neighbours.
I never forget a roadie. How are you, Andy?
Aaron, yeah, no, I'm good, I'm great.
Maybe don't look at Neighbours. But yeah, I would love to be involved in Priscilla the sequel. Maybe I can be the Tick's son, Benji? How old did, well, if he was born, he was young in the film. So he was like, what, 8 years old in the film? So he'd be 38. I mean, I can play 38 and I'm willing. Did he become a drag queen? Is he me? I've really regressed to like my baby drag self when thinking about going on Very Delta. Over the years, I've been justifiably bullied by Willem and Alaska and Bianca and just most drag queens about not wearing enough makeup, not wearing enough black eyeshadow, not wearing big enough lashes, so on and so forth. And I look back at the photos, yes, I was beautiful, but I kind of agree with them. I like what I see now, wearing more makeup. And so like when I'm going to see Delta, I feel like I'm going to see, because like I met Delta in 2010 when I first moved to LA, like when Detox and Vicky and Willem and I were hanging out, and I met Delta at Showgirls. And so I'm very much, Delta is saved in that era where my drag was not as advanced. And so I'm sort of like, I feel like I have to like prove to her that I have evolved into a drag queen worthy of her couch. That's what's going on. So now it's time to do my liquid liner. I'm gonna use Brushstroke Brush Black by MAC. So I've been back in the US for a few months, doing gigs, New York for Pride. That was so much fun, seeing the Stonewall Memorial. Nope, nobody died at Stonewall.
Nobody was killed at Stonewall.
Nobody was
Nobody
killed?
was killed at Stonewall.
Monument, the Stonewall Monument Visitor Center, seeing Elton John perform.
Don't let the sun go down on me.
Cynthia Erivo, oh, a goddess. And then I did a gig at $3 Bill. I had fun at Horse Disco. Did some gigs in Seattle at Queer Bar. That was so much fun. Pitches, catches, pitches, 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 catches. It's like a top and bottom euphemism. Pitches in Washington, DC. I went to Strut in the OC, Luke Nero. I've been friends with Luke since like the year 2000. And I hadn't been to Strut yet, his bar in the OC, so it was really cool to go there. And I noticed that something has changed. I was a bit nervous. I was like, God, I haven't been doing club gigs or gigs in the US since like before Big Brother, like 2017. And I thought, is anyone gonna remember me? Is anyone gonna care about little Courtney act? And then I got to the gig, particularly in Seattle, like Queer Bar was the first one where it was like tipping and meet and greet. And I went from being like Bianca Adore Courtney, like third on the list in a sea of, you know, Latrices and Willems and Alaskas and Jinxes and all of those girls, to being the legendary Courtney act, the OG, the season 6, the single digit girl, the legacy queen. And all of these like kids came out to see, you know, the Courtney act from Drag Race season 6. And I was like, oh wow, it's so interesting seeing how the dynamic has changed from being like, we were the it girls to now we're like the grand dames and the ones that have paved the way. Yeah, it was kind of wild. I kind of loved it. I leaned into it. And I had really fun gigs. I was singing live, and I always feel like singing live in a gay bar with a shitty sound system is always a struggle. But I've gotten better at it over the years, and I just kind of like, I sang my pop diva ballad and collected the tips and felt the fantasy. And I realized that like, if you believe it, they will too. That whole audience is there because they want to feel something special, and that they're with you on creating the fantasy. And so as soon as like I felt the fantasy, it just all took off, and I was like, ooh! It happened in particular second night of Queer Bar in Seattle. I did my pop diva medley. I had big hair, I had a gorgeous gown, and it was just so cute and so much fun. And everybody, all the audiences have been wonderful. It's been so fun kikiing in dressing rooms with drag queens again, just like sitting there. It just feels so familiar. Like you might not know any of the queens, but just sitting in a dressing room, kikiing, it takes me back to like the year 2001, sitting in the dressing room at Arc with Vanity and Chelsea Barn and Testicle and Trudy and Portia and all the girls. So yeah, it's been a really fun summer of like dipping my toe back into the water of club gigs. And to know that people still know me here, people still care about me, it's very lovely. I told that story for too long and my eyeliner dried out. I want to add in something sparkly, maybe just some glitter. I'm running so deathly low on my favorite Krylon glitter. I put some eyelash glue on the back of my hand. This angle brush is reserved for glue and glitter. This is actually the nicest face I've done since Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is always like my peak face of the year. Oh yes, that is sophisticated glamour. All right, now the under eyes. This can make or break. That's kind of my eyes done. My next steps will be setting spray, Studio Fix powders, blushes, bronzers. So I'm gonna get into it. This is Morphe setting spray, I love it. So now I'm taking Spice by MAC to do my lip line, just while everything else dries. Then I'm going to take a lipstick. I think this is called Myth, it is. And here's the key to lipstick, a lip brush. Blending lipstick into the lip line with a lip brush, smooths it, blends it, gets rid of any chunky bits that get caught in your stubble. Not that I ever had any. All right, now I'm gonna use my Studio Fix powders. When I started doing this step, Hilary Montez introduced me to it. When I started doing this step, my foundation and my skin texture just went like extra velvety and gorgeous, and I just love it. I feel like Studio Fix powders and setting trays and laying it up nearly gets me there. This is Hotel Heiress by Tarte. I'm gonna go in and do my contour. For the cheek contour shape, you wanna kinda like go for the Nike swoop. Now it's time for blush. I think this is Dusty Rose or something by MAC. It's very old. You think you're wearing too much, and then when it all comes on, you still need more. So temples, nose, chin. Now, more setting spray. Like I've put on lots of powders and it can get quite cakey. So then I use the setting spray, which goes in and like wets it all down, and sort of like, you know, like wet sand in the desert, wet clay in the desert, and just sort of like melts it all into the skin and maybe gives it a little bit more of a human texture. Now I'm gonna go in with a brown felt tip. I love the brush stroke by MAC in brown. This one is by Clinique in espresso. Thank you, Sabrina Carpenter. Now it's time for shimmer. I'm gonna use Soft and Gentle by MAC here and here. That's your J-Lo shimmer. On the cheeks. One shimmer is never enough, so now I've got my Inglot. This stuff is brilliant. Sparkling Dust, face, eyes, and body. I do a little bit on the tip of my nose. Sorry that I've done that. Red a little bit too strong. And just a itty bitty bit on the end of the brush for the apples of the cheeks, because it's very strong. Mascara. Nearly done. Lashes. Lip gloss. Wig. And I'm out the door. Do you want to know how to put on false eyelashes? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you. It's very simple. There's a few little tricks. This is probably one of the #1 questions I get asked by women in the street. You put a little bit of eyelash glue on the back of your hand. You want to trim the eyelash because they come a little bit long. You don't usually need the full length of the eyelash. So just kind of like measure it up, the length of your eyelid versus the length of the lash. I've already trimmed this one. Then you drag the spine of the lash through the glue. So you're gonna get a nice little coating all the way along. Then, while it's still wet, you do a little bit of a curve going. And then we're just placing it. We're trying to get the glue all the way along. And we take it off. And we leave it for 30 seconds, a minute, till the glue starts to go a little bit tacky. The only hard thing about this is that often I will do that and then I'll be like, oh, now I'm gonna go put on leg makeup. And then I'll get distracted and I'll look at my phone and I'll come back half an hour later and realize that I just forgot to glue on my lashes. Or like at Queer Bar in Seattle, I got into the dressing room and Irene the alien was like,
can I ask you something very real?
We just met.
She said,
are you wearing lashes? And I was like, oh,
and I'm not. And I didn't even realize.
I was so embarrassed because I had just forgotten to put my lashes on. I had done the glue, but never put the lash on. So thankfully they found some in the dressing room and I was able to put on lashes. I was wearing a smoky eye, so it wasn't as noticeable, but still, always wear lashes. As Vanity says, if you think you look good without lashes, imagine how good you'll look with them. Words to live by. And then when you put the eyelash on, it's kind of tacky and it just grabs and stays in place much easier. Then I use my thumb and forefinger, making sure they're clean. I did wash my hands after I just went to the toilet. And I just pinch them together along the lash line, like so. And you want to make sure that the end of the lash doesn't like droop down like that and pull your eye down. You want it to elevate and lift up. Usually aim to place the lash sort of in the center of the eyelid or just like a little bit toward the outer edge of the eye. It's always good to grab your liquid liner again and just go in and touch it up on the top and also here. I think I'm done with my makeup. Welcome to my face.
Welcome to my face. Welcome to my face. Welcome to my face.
Now I'm gonna pop on my wig and pop on my outfit and get ready for an episode of Very Delta. This is my favorite, KD151. It's better than Krylon Spirit Gum. And Krylon Spirit Gum and KD151 are the only spirit gums you should be using because all the others are shit. You know, Delta's queen of wigs. She got an Emmy for it. I want to get that lace nice and flat. I want Delta to marvel at my lace because I'm not just representing myself, I'm representing Wigs by Vanity. So this is the look that I put together for Very Delta. I have a pair of purple organza palazzo pants as well, which you can't see right now because I'm not wearing them. But yeah, this is the look. Little purple eye to tie in the purple pants, some sparkle, some glamour, a gorgeous updo. I'm ready. Thank you for watching my Get Ready With Me for Very Delta. I hope you liked it. If you want to check out the interview on Very Delta, you can click here, subscribe.